My name is Dr. Greg Henderson. I'm a chiropractor in Fallbrook, California, and I have a multidisciplinary clinic in Fallbrook which employs 6 doctors. Of those 6 doctors, 4 of them are chiropractors, 2 of them MDs. We have a rehabilitation department and advanced diagnostic area that employs thermographics and the EMG, the number of different tests for orthopedics and neurological testing. A part of our practice, and most of our practice, a great deal of our practice comes from outside of the United States and the various states within the United States. When patients come to us, they're looking for something a little different. They've tried the normal methods of getting well and have not been able to achieve their goal of getting to a point where they're functioning to where they feel that they're doing well. Our purpose of our clinic is to return function to the patient. One of those products that are many of the products that we use in our clinic, one of those products is the B products that we use in our office. I was introduced to the B products very early in my life. I started into the martial arts at 8 years old and spent a career in professional martial arts in the full contact field for about 32 years, owning schools throughout the Los Angeles area and then building a women's self-defense operation in the western United States that became the largest. In that process of teaching and competing, the body is damaged a great deal in our particular sport. You're taking full kicks, full hits on a regular basis. It was not unusual to have 30 and 40 matches in one night. In the schools of women's self-defense, you were taking many, many kicks. I'm well in excess of over 1 million kicks into my body and hits. And you can't do this every night. The body doesn't rebuild that fast without some help. And I was introduced to the B products very early in my life, hearing from other athletes, amateur athletes as well as professional, of the benefits of B products. One of those main products we use in our office that has been very beneficial is the bee pollen. Now, bee pollen, we're talking about the honey bee pollen. We're not talking about pollen you get off the flowers. The bees take this product or this pollen from the flowers and mix it up. They emaciate it, even beat it with their head in the process, and mix it with products of their own body, creating the uniqueness of honey bee pollen. And I want to make very clear it's honey bee pollen. The pollen itself is the male germ cell. It's a basic stimulant. It's a gonadotrophic hormone found in the male germ cell. They feed it to their young worker bees to produce royal jelly. The royal jelly is used to feed the queen bee, who lays many thousands of eggs a day in her process of reproduction and keeping the hive strong. The interesting thing, when bee pollen drops in the hive, so does the production of the hive. They stop laying eggs. That's how important bee pollen is in the hive. It's been considered nature's most perfect food. It has the DNA, the RNA. The DNA, RNA are what make the body function. It's in all living cells. There's 96 elements in aloe vera. We could spend just a tape alone just on the elements of aloe vera and have an exciting lecture on the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the proteins, the amino acids. One of the products that's in there is lecithin, and you've heard a lot about lecithin recently. Let's talk a little bit about lecithin there. Lecithin is a natural constituent of the cells of the body. In other words, it's found in every cell in the human body. It's high in phosphorus. It unites with iron, iodine, calcium, gives power and vigor to the brain. That's what it's known as, a brain food many times. It aids in digestion and in absorption of fats within the body. It may be in the process of breaking down of cholesterol and allow it to pass through the artery without clinging to the artery wall and causing the arterial sclerosis that is so devastating in our society today as a disease. It's increased immunity. The lecithin helps in the increased immunity against viral infections. It prevents the formation of gallstones. It's been shown to do that. It's an important element in maintaining a healthy nervous system. It's found naturally in the myelin sheaths of the fatty protective layer covering the nerves. In other words, this layer that goes over the nerve, it's part of that and makes that solid. So as the reaction in the nerve is speeded up, that myelin sheath or that sheath can become stronger and bounce the reactions along the nerve so the nerve actually works faster. Nutritionally speaking, pollen is probably the most important new food today. Now I know pollen isn't anything new, and if you go back in history, flowers on the earth happened about 150 million years ago. Well, so did bees. That's about the time they started to develop. They're nothing new. Pollen's nothing new. But today it's being rediscovered as probably one of the most beneficial nutritional products. Another feature that it has is its bacteriostatic activity. In other words, it suppresses the growth of the production of bacteria. It doesn't so much destroy it, but actually combates it. It suppresses the activity of the bacteria in its reproduction phase so it can't reproduce itself. When they extracted an antibiotic from it, they found it was very active in killing microbes instantly, especially the hard to control ones like salmonella, typhoid types. Typhoid's a very highly dangerous and devastating disease if it gets loose in the body. It's especially effective against E. coli. Okay, E. coli is a particular bacteria that is extremely powerful. It's harmless in the bowel. Now it's found throughout the bowel. E. coli is all through there. And in the acute and a chronic inflammation elsewhere in the body, like appendicitis we're hearing about, gallbladder disease, kidney and bladder infections, this is where E. coli gets in there. Well, the bacteriostatic activity actually suppresses this E. coli and stuff enough to keep the normal body process of defense against it. So another property of bee pollen is it increases the waste and poison excretion. The known and unknown biological stimulants within the bee pollen are the principal cause in the human organism to slough off poisons and wastes. It speeds up, the nutritional products help it speed up and stimulate the kidneys, the nerve processes and stuff, and the intestine and stuff as it's eliminating waste through the body. It's also known for enhancing the autoimmune system. Now I put autoimmune system there because the immune system is automatic. It happens whether we decide it's going to happen or whether it's not going to decide it's going to happen. The body is continually in a war against those products in our environment and those things we ingest into our system. There's a constant war going on. We have artificial insecticides, artificial fertilizers, the contaminants in our soils, those things that are harmful to the body, our food additives that we add there, which we've known for years are not good for us, continue to be used. The body's in a constant battle. It's a high phylactic property. In other words, phylactic means protective property. It has a very protective property there. And maybe because it provides so many of the essential nutrients. If you have better nutrition, the body's defensive mechanism can work better because the cells are better, because it performs better, because it has better nutrition. It has those necessary things. If you were to take your car and put bad gasoline in it, you'd have a poor performing car. Or if you had no gasoline in it, it doesn't run. The body's very, very similar in its process of using a nutritional product to produce energy and giving off waste. It's a biological stimulant. It stimulates the body to speed up. So in this fight, it has the ability to stimulate the body to be there, to be faster, to be quicker, and to do those things. Beekeepers, they have a significantly lower incidence of cancer. That's just in the Russian studies, the French studies, they found the beekeepers were sometimes 100 times less the incidence of cancer in the beekeepers. Very, very important if the autoimmune system is going to fight against these diseases that we've got that we have no answers to. We don't have answers to most of the diseases we deal with. Let's look at the word dis-ease. Notice how I split it up into dis-ease, two words, dis-ease. Anything in the body that causes dis-ease is disease. We put it all into one word because it's financially better for us to combine this into one word. If you've got a bruise, if you've got a limp, if you've got a piece of something in your eye, a tooth isn't working right, you've got this product or this dis-ease factor. There's dis-ease in the body. If you want to bring the body into a factor of ease, again, the bee pollen helps the body produce that ease that we need in the body. Another factor that's well known in the bee pollen records and stories that you read about pollen is the increased energy. If the body is functioning better, you're going to have increased energy. Good nutrition equals better function, which equals a better quality of life. So you're constantly going to get better energy from anything that makes the body function better and makes it work better. Another property of bee pollen that's been highly advertised and many articles written on it is the increased regenerative powers. In other words, what I was talking about earlier, when I compete and stuff, I'm taking many hits, many kicks and stuff. We're talking full contact. We're not talking about that pulling of the punch. We're talking about where it breaks tissue. And you're doing this on a constant basis. That tissue has to regenerate itself and has to become stronger and tougher as you apply this type of trauma to the body. Aging people. The aging process is probably the end result of everything we do to ourselves in our lifetime. You've seen people that are 55 years old that are old. You've seen people that are 95 years old and they're young. The difference is the level of degeneration that took process in their life. And that's an accumulation of number one of their hereditary factors. How good were their parents when they first gave it to you? What happened in life? Were they around poisonous chemicals? Did they take abuse? Did they have a traumatic type of experience in their life of physical, emotional, or chemical trauma of some type? That would lead to the aging process. When they did some research in Russia on bee pollen, specifically there, and an interesting note here, Russia we can get a lot of our information on about bees because Russia has more bee colonies than any other country. Now Russia, we know today especially, is not a consumer product producer. They don't really care if their people eat that well. They don't produce very well. Why then do they go to the bee pollen? Well, they've done extensive research. People go to college there and to the universities just to be bee specialists in one little field of bees. And they've done this over and over for the years. You've heard about their athletes, what it's done. Well, when they did these studies with the aged, they found that it seemed to restore the morale of people. It had a sense of spiritual well-being. They felt better about themselves. They were more confident. Those things happened there. They were actually physically more healthy. And that, this is the data they were able to obtain from these people, these blind studies they ran with the pollen. Firming of the skin. They actually saw a firming of the skin, a regeneration, a rejuvenation of the skin. Again, I saw it in the fact of the trauma I received day after day after day because you're doing this 6 days a week type of thing. In a sport, you're constantly putting demands on all the joints, the tissues, all the supportive tissues to keep you going all the time, not just the shock and hits you're taking. One of the other important processes in bee pollen is it's able to correct body chemistry. Now this is kind of a strong statement because the body chemistry should be right already. Well, yes, it should be. This body was created here, and as I've said in the past, I've never met a doctor that made anybody well. I've never found a drug that cured anybody, especially in our country, that didn't add a bunch of other symptoms. In fact, when we were teaching in China, one of the major questions that always came to me was why would we give a product to get rid of a symptom and cause 12 to 15 other symptoms? And I used to have to tell them I didn't know. That was just a factor there. In China, by the way, here we are. The bee products are used extensively in China, and there's much research now coming out of that particular country as communication opens up and we're able to get that information. We're just at the verge. That's why I call it the newest food product. We're just on the verge of discovery of really what the bee products can do for us. In correcting body chemistry, as I mentioned before, the world's full of artificial insecticides, fertilizers, artificial flavorings, chemical food additives, toxic environmental substances. The body has to function properly and has to function at its highest level to compete against this. I remember as a child, 1 out of 200 got cancer. Today, 1 out of 3 gets cancer. we're going the wrong direction. Something's wrong. We're constantly striving for cures, and the advancements have been incredible in the treatment of cancer. I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis, the doctors I work with, the better results, the more successful results with cancers that used to kill us. Now they're able to control and maintain through the various methods, or contain, not control it, but contain it, to give people a longer life. I think we're approaching it in the wrong way. I think we need to go back and find out the basic causes, those things that cause the irritants, and it's my personal belief that our society, with our production of the food and stuff that we do and the way we grow our food, is probably the basis of the cancer problem we have in this nation. Bee pollen is the only known food on earth containing all the essential nutrients needed for mankind's perfect health. In other words, bee pollen has everything that we need as human beings. It can correct the body chemistry to allow the body to rid itself of these unhealthy conditions that we just talked about. Bee pollen has been over-exaggerated. Claims of over-exaggeration have been there for many, many years. Let me explain here the ability of bee pollen to in the nutritional field. We already talked about lecithin, a very, very important factor. The conditions for bee pollen, which it's used in many, many conditions, and we've used these, is under the stress conditions. In other words, where we have to treat somebody for cancer, they're using radiation therapy or chemotherapy. In radiation therapy, they're bombarding the organisms and the whole body as an organism with radiation. I've found the patients in my office that are under radiation therapy respond much better to radiation therapy with the use of bee products. They don't have such wide ranges of symptoms of the hair loss, the nausea, the pain that comes with radiation therapy. Also, they're able to tolerate the chemotherapy, the chemicals used to kill the organism in the body. They're better able to tolerate this. And my belief there is it's making the whole body better. So as they kill the bad cells, the good cells are also able to regenerate at a better rate. Arterial sclerosis. If you don't die of heart disease in this country, you're going to die of cancer. You can cover probably 85% of the deaths in this country under those two subjects. Arterial sclerosis, or the damage to the arteries, is extreme in our society. There's a recent study of pyridoxine, which is the vitamin B6, which in the doctor has found in deficiency of B6 causes lesions within the arterial walls. Those lesions in the arterial wall it's like an open wound when I speak of lesions, collect the plaque and stuff that actually builds up in the artery, causing this disorder. Bee pollen has a high quality B6 in it. It changes to, the cystothionine into a non-toxic material. Because what happens when these the deficiency of B6 causes an increase in homocysteine, and it's a toxic substance which actually breaks down the arterial wall. B6 comes in and changes that, turns it into a non-toxic product, in other words, non-threatening to the body, that's used in other areas of the body. So the body's able to utilize that product in other areas. If you want, what we want in an ideal diet is very high in B6 and very low in methionine. What are some of those products in nature that we can get those things from? Bananas have been there, 10-to-1 ratio. Carrots have been, promoted that way, a 15-to-1 ratio. It's a lower ratio. Onions came, wear the one around your neck. It's a ratio of 10-to-1. Bee pollen, honey bee pollen, 400-to-1. In other words, products naturally found in our environment that grow things we eat every day do not have the capability of this balance, this heavy of a balance, as the honey bee pollen. In other words, the conversion that the honey bee does makes this a better product to where it can have that 400-to-1 ratio. Another area that bee pollen has got a lot of exposure and stuff, and that is in the weight loss field. Weight loss in our nation is a habit. We're going from either we're on a diet, we're going to one, or we've come from one. It seems like we're in a complete dietary type of society. You can't go anywhere where you don't see the word diet used. In weight loss, I'd like to explain where I feel that bee pollen can be very, very helpful. It's the sugars and fats found are basically energy producing foods, and so both contain carbon. If you add oxygen, it will burn to produce energy. So that's what you're looking to do, is add oxygen to your system to burn the sugars and the fats. Sugars are higher in carbon, and being higher in carbon, they're flammable. They burn very quickly, producing very quick energy. So that's why you've heard sugars being a very quick energy type of food. Fats are lower in carbon. They're slower in burning. They're more of the reserve energy. They're slower burning, so you have energy that's on reserve that can be done. Fats need more oxygen to burn. So it's a slower burning process there. You have to have more oxygen. Pollens have inverted sugars, and they cause a speedy combustion, very speedy combustion, which equals the increased rate of caloric burning. In other words, it burns calories very fast because of this combustion being so great. And so it increases the weight loss, or it equals the weight loss at burning these calories. If you improve the metabolism in weight loss, in other words, bee pollen is known for improving the metabolism. It works very good in controlling the body systems to balance them and stuff, and in that process helps to take off weight. Bee pollen's been found to be one of the major factors in my office that has added a better quality to our healing process, a better endurance. It's been a major factor in my life for endurance and my recuperative power and my ability to continue to compete and my ability to continue to stay sharp and stay ahead of the game and always be there. Life's exciting for me. I have a good time at life. And it's because of these products and stuff. I've been a long time user, probably over 30 years of bee pollen I've used on a consistent basis. I can back off bee pollen and tell the difference. There's a functioning in my life. I've done double-blind studies on myself, and it's worked. Bee pollen is one of the essential nutrients in this life. If we could take bee pollen and add it to everyone's diet, we would have a better nutritional quality, a better functioning body, and a better quality of life in America. So in my personal opinion, bee pollen is one of the greatest things that we can add to a diet in our systems to help our body function better, giving us that better quality of life that gives us joy and happiness. Another product found in the beehive that is used in the healthcare industry, or especially in my office, is the bee propolis. Now, bee propolis is the resins and secretions that the bees bring into the hive. In other words, the leaves, the buds, the bark, things like this. They use it in the hive for many things. It's used basically as a cement in the hive. They line their egg chambers with it. They seal the hive from any invasion of air or products there. The interesting thing is that it's absolutely sterile. A beehive, the inside of a beehive is more sterile than our best surgery room. And if that doesn't say something for the bee products in themselves and their ability to compete against our environment, because they're picking up pollens that have been grown in the artificial insecticides, the fertilizers, and the water supply that they have there and stuff. They're using the water products. They're using all those products we have in our society and still able to process and still end up with a sterile living environment that they have there. Propolis is used when they have a pest invade their hive. They would sting it and then embalm it, actually wrap it up. And when you went into the beehive, or many times going into the beehive, you would find these embalmed insects. They found that they would be embalmed up to 5 to 6 years, still in perfect condition. Some of the properties they found in this embalming process are very important for us to understand in a health process here. They had an anti-proteolytic factor in there, which inhibits the breakdown of proteins. In other words, proteins don't break down. The tissues and the cells did not break down in these embalmed insects. The bactericidal effect in there. And what that is the destructive it's a destructive to bacteria. It actually fights against, actually destroys bacteria. And then there's a bacteriostatic effect. In other words, it inhibits the growth and multiplication of bacteria. So in this one embalmed process, you have all these factors taking place. We'll review as we talk about here about the B propolis, where these factors are extremely important in the healing process and the regeneration process and the health of the human body. One of the outstanding features of B propolis is its natural antibiotic. Many times you've heard the phrase coined, nature's penicillin. Well, it has antiviral and antifungal properties. So that's where it would pick up that name. It has the ability to compete against viruses and fungal infections. It immobilizes the virus action, and it does that by stimulating properdin. And in that properdin, I'll spell that out here. Properdin's a protein. And what happens, let's just draw a virus here, capital V for victory. Enzymes attack the virus. And these enzymes break the wall of the virus, causing the virus to be released into the body fluids, causing the disease process or the irritation or the reaction to this virus. What happens with properdin? Being a protein, it puts a coating right around the virus. And so it coats and protects the virus from the actual enzyme breakdown of the cell wall of that virus. In that process, you get immunity. That's what happens. It surrounds the virus. The virus cannot function. Again, you've got competition with the virus's ability to cause infection within the body. It's also been called nature's aspirin, or a natural aspirin. And the reason for that is it blocks the same enzymes as you find in aspirin. The important part there in aspirin activity is the prostaglandins. And in these prostaglandins, you find the effect in prostaglandin is the fact that it's a precursor for 3 essential fatty acids in the body. These are required by the body, but the body does not make these acids. That's why it's so essential that we have them. And it's available in other very rare type of things, like you find it in black currant berries and things like that. Well, you find it also in the propolis, and so you're able to get these prostaglandins there. The interesting effect that prostaglandins have in this aspirin type effect is not only is it vital for body functions, is it decreases platelet aggregation. In other words, it decreases clotting factor. In other words, it doesn't clot as well. It breaks down and keeps the flow of flow of the blood through the arteries. It decreases cholesterol. It's an increase in dilation. It actually dilates, bringing nutrition and stuff further to the tissues. The anti-inflammatory agents, which you've heard of aspirin also, that's where prostaglandins play an important part in this anti-inflammatory type of effect, or the antibiotic, the nature's penicillin type effect is in this anti-inflammatory process. Also, it's very, very important in the regulation of hormones and their formation and release within the body. Another factor that we run into in the B propolis is the bioflavonoids. Now, bioflavonoids are the white stuff on the inside of peelings. You know, when you're eating an orange, they call man intelligent. We take and we peel an orange and eat the middle. If you give it to an orangutan, he peels an orange, throws the middle away, and eats the peeling. So let me tell you, the orangutan is much more intelligent than we are. That white material inside that peeling is what has the bioflavonoids in it. Now, bioflavonoids is vitamin P, as it's been referred to. It enhances the effect of vitamin C. It's important in the fragility, in other words, the ability to be bruised, broken down. It protects against infections. It's a collagen builder. It's an intercellular cement. In other words, it holds the cells together. Its permeability is increased in the capillary and the capillaries themselves. In other words, they're more permeable. They're able to exchange fluids better. And this causes, or it helps prevent hemorrhage and the ruptures and stuff that you see quite a bit. It's like when you get hit and you bruise over anything. You're getting bruises. If you bump into a table, you're getting bruises here. You get these little spider veins that break easily in the body. Bioflavonoids can improve that condition to a great deal. That's the cement that holds the cells together is not as strong as it should be, and that's the bioflavonoid. In the blood vessels, it stimulates enzyme formation to fortify the wall of the vessel. In other words, you have a stronger wall of the vessel. And that's what we need in our society. We need a stronger wall that not only gets circulation there, but still supports this vascular system that we have in the body, because if you get a break in the river in your body, it's a serious condition. It's a vasodilator. Bioflavonoids, again, we're getting into this term of vasodilator. It increases the circulation. It's a diuretic. It's even been found to moderately affect blood pressure. Bioflavonoids has been used for many years in nutrition as a natural diuretic. Another property of bee propolis is its ability to stimulate inferion. Now, infurion's had a lot of press and stuff recently, and what it does and its reactions in acupuncture and acupressure and those type of things. Inferion is a small protein, and it inhibits viral multiplication. Phagocytosis, you hear this word a lot, of the white blood cells. In other words, what phagocytosis is the surrounding or the engulfing of the bacteria, and then it digests the bacteria, engulfs it and digests the bacteria, doesn't give it a chance to even attack the body. It's not virus specific. In other words, it doesn't attack this particular virus. It's cell specific. In other words, it deals at the cellular level, specifically at the cell. It changes the invaded cell. In other words, once a cell is invaded, it changes it, that allows the body, or it no longer can reproduce itself. It just does away with its ability to multiply. So in other words, it cannot spread. So now we've got a control factor here. Bee propolis is also an excellent source of histamine and serotonin. Now, histamine everybody's heard of, because you've been taking those products for years to stop your nose from running and keep your eyes from running and all that process. If you have excess of either histamine or serotonin, you're going to have an allergic response. And basically what happens in allergic response is the cell actually releases the histamine and serotonin. Now, let's go to the pad here, and I'll give you another actual photograph of what this looks like. Basically, you have your master cell, which inside of it, among other properties, has histamine and serotonin. Okay, those are supposed to stay inside the cell. What happens is we get this allergen attacking. We'll make it a little black ball to make it look like it's an evil thing, which it is in its aspect. The allergen comes into the body, attacks the cell wall, breaks it down, because the allergen is an acid. It's actually an acid that eats away at the wall of the master cell. What happens when it breaks through that cell wall? You get a leakage. And that leakage is the histamine and the serotonin. And so there's a leakage. And that's your body's response right there. That's why you have this response to the eyes watering, the nose running, and stuff like this. The bee propolis has this ability because it has an excellent source of histamine and serotonin in itself, but they're in balance, which is interesting. It's just like the cell, they're in balance. It releases, it has the ability to block these acids. In other words, before this acid can get to the master cell wall, this is the master cell in the body, it actually blocks its ability to attack the cell. It cannot get through that blockage. So in the process, this is why it's been used as an allergy preventer. It doesn't really prevent allergies, it just enhances the body's ability to resist the reaction to the acids or the allergens in our environment. And the allergens are constantly adapting, improving and stuff, and becoming stronger, varying its attack on the master cell. So B. propolis is used in many, many areas of health care and stuff. We're finding it used basically in my office as an antibiotic type of thing. In other words, I'm looking to control inflammation. I'm looking to control master cells. I'm interested in getting better reaction to the adjustments to the things that we're doing in our office on a nutritional basis also. B. propolis, in my opinion, has not been researched enough. It needs to be looked into more, and we need to use it on a regular basis. We need to have the body's resistance build up, building a natural autoimmunity again, this immune system of the body, giving us all these aspects. It gives us the aspects or the benefits of aspirin. It gives us the benefits of antibiotics. It gives us the benefits of nutrition, the inferion, and the histamine and serotonin and allergic responses. B. propolis, in my opinion, wouldn't the world would be a lot different if we used it on a daily basis. Each one of us, we'd have a less reaction to our environment.